story of Aisha, a mother whose heart was full of love, hope, and sacrifice. But war does not care for love. War does not spare hope. And in the end, war took everything from her. Aisha lived in a small town with her 2 children, Sami and Nur. They were her world. Even in the darkest times, she told them stories of the stars, the moon, and a future where they could be free. One night, as they sat together, a loud siren filled the air. The ground shook, and fear rushed into their hearts. Bombs fell like fire from the sky. Aisha held her children close, whispering prayers and promises to keep them safe. When Aisha opened her eyes, dust and smoke surrounded her. She could not hear anything except the ringing in her ears. She looked around. Sami and Nur were gone. A mother's worst nightmare had come true. She searched through the rubble with trembling hands, calling their names. But there was no answer. Days passed. The war did not stop. But Aisha did not leave. She stayed in the broken streets, feeding hungry children, comforting lost souls. She became a mother to many, even when her own heart was shattered. One evening, as she handed a piece of bread to a crying boy, a man approached her. He had been searching for survivors and had news. He handed Aisha a torn piece of cloth. It was from Nur's dress. Aisha held it close to her heart, tears rolling down her face. Her child had not survived. But then, the man whispered, "Your son, Sami, he is alive." He was taken to a refugee camp across the border. For the first time in weeks, Aisha's eyes shone with light. She had lost Nur, but Sami was alive. She gathered what little strength she had left and began her journey. She walked for days, crossing mountains and rivers, surviving on kindness and prayers. But war does not show mercy. As she neared the camp, the sound of gunfire echoed once again. Aisha ran, her tired feet bleeding, her heart racing. She could see the camp's entrance. And then, a sudden gunshot. Aisha fell to the ground, her body cold, but her lips whispered one last word, "Sami." The refugees found her lifeless body. In her hand, she clutched the torn piece of Nur's dress. Inside the camp, a little boy sat alone, waiting for the mother who had promised to find him. Deep silence. War had taken Aisha's life, but her love and sacrifice lived on. The children she had cared for, the hope she had given, and the son she had fought for would never forget her. But fate had a final twist. Years later, Sami, now grown, became a doctor, dedicating his life to helping war victims. He carried a piece of his mother's dress in his pocket, a reminder of her love and strength. One day, he met an old woman who had survived the war because Aisha had once given her shelter. The woman took Sami's hands and whispered, "Your mother saved me, and because of her, I lived to tell her story." Aisha was gone, but her kindness had created ripples that would never fade. A mother's love never dies. Even in war, even in death, it remains forever. And in the hearts she touched, Aisha lived on.